So, Mom, we're talking about over there in Hayes, and you indicated that we were talking about like what you did with your trash. You said everything went in the trash. Of course, there was no recycling, and then Elvis was like a fun thing.
When did he come into being?
Oh, in the 50s, like the early 50s.
Early 50s.
Early 50s, I think, yeah. Maybe a little later, maybe the mid 50s, but like around you were in high school, or like right after high school, you would have heard. So if you were going to hear Elvis, how would you hear Elvis?
We did have a radio.
You had a radio.
And then TVs came out.
And so what happened?
So one day my dad gets in the car. He goes out and he buys us a television set. I don't know what kind it was.
Do you know where he would have bought it?
Not in Hayes, because there was no place in Hayes. So it had to be in Hazelwood or Homestead.
You went to Hazelwood or Homestead?
He bought this television set and he brought it home. I can still see him taking it out of the car in my head. If I closed my eyes,
Really?
I could see him getting out of the car with this television in his car.
Now, a television at that time was like not a small deal. It was like a big box, big wooden box, right?
It wasn't a big TV, David.
Like, show me with your hands. What do you think?
I guess it was about this big.
About that big. That was not the screen. That was like the whole size of the machine.
Yeah.
And then the screen,
like this.
About like that. And then the screen would have been, the screen would have been like even smaller, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And every night we would sit there and watch TV.
What'd you watch?
Me and my mother and dad. I can't remember. I don't know what was on at that time.
So like maybe Ed Sullivan or
yeah, that's right.
You would have had like
and if there was
variety
any kind
shows,
of dance programs on, my dad loved it.
What would, because your dad could play the piano.
Oh yeah.
So if there's a dance program on, like would he like sit there and bob his head, or would he?
Yeah, he would. We would both.
Huh.
Kind of like make it fun, dance around. Yeah. That's great.
It's cute.
And so where was the TV in the house? Because you had the kitchen and then the dining room and then the front room.
It was in the living room.
The living room.
And it was right in, my mother had a fireplace like I have.
Uh-huh.
And it was right on that side of the fireplace.
It was next to the fireplace. Okay.
Yeah, it was next to the fireplace. And then she had a couch on this side and a couch on this side. So there was somewhere to sit, and she had a coffee table and end table with a lot like what I have.
Do you remember the colors in that room? Like what color was the walls?
I don't know.
What about the couches?
I don't know.
It's all black and white to me. Everything is black and white. It's like not black and white like as in she had a black couch and white colors on the walls, but rather it's like a black and white television show, black and white movie to me.
That's because that's the only time you see the 50s.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes in my head. But
yeah, it was a black and white.
Oh yeah, the television was, yeah, but I also picture the room was also in black and white.
Was your mom also black and white?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like running around. Like the pictures I saw of you, like you didn't learn how to have color, be in color until like
60s.
Yeah, the 60s, the late 60s.
Well, my mother made all my dresses.
In black and white.
Made it out of feed sacks.
From the
feed store.
They'd buy feed for the chickens.
Uh-huh.
And she would take the feed sacks and she would make me pinafores.
Okay, now when I think about what animal food comes in from like the 40s and 50s, I'm picturing like a burlap, harsh, scratchy fabric, like meant to like, be on trucks and withstand.
This was very, very soft and very, very pretty.
Why on earth would it be soft and pretty if they're putting chicken feed in it?
I don't know.
We should look it up, see if we can find it.
I'd be curious to know.
I don't know. All I know is my mother made me pinafores.
What's a pinafore?
It's just sleeveless, And it has a ruffle around here and a ruffle around
It's
here.
a type of dress, I see.
It was just a type of dress.
And
they called it pinafores.
With buttons, or like a zipper, like you string, you tied it? Or did it just fit over top of you, like a t-shirt?
I think it fit over top. I don't think it was anything you pulled on.
When your friends would see you wearing this outfit, this pinafore dress, would they say, wow, Mary Lou, that's a snappy dress. Where'd you get that number? Or would they say,
Mom made another feed sack dress, huh?
yeah, would they say that?
No. Nobody at that time ever criticized anything.
They didn't care what you wore.
They did not care.
Okay. Nobody ever criticized anything that anybody did, regardless of what they did, all the time. Everybody was happy.
They never criticized what you wore.
Okay.
What you...
So, like, yeah, if you were wearing, but Dad said he used to wear like some sort of goof knickers or something, and everybody made fun of him.
Knickers, yeah, they were short pants that went down over the knee. They were called knickers.
He wore this, everybody made fun of him because they had like regular pants.
Yeah.
Tom Diffindale's got to wear the knickers.
But they weren't long.
They weren't long. But I mean, you're wearing a dress that your mom sewed. But do you remember like the first time you went and bought to like the store and picked out like a really nice dress? We went to Kaufman's or Gimbel's or something.
Pennies.
You would have went to Kaufman's was the deal.
Oh.
Yeah, Kaufman's.
And Gimbel's and Horns. I'm sensing I'm making these up, I know. But Horns was a store.
Yeah, Horns and Gimbel's and Kaufman's and Pennies were the 4 department stores.
Were the 4 options, right? And then after the battle of the department stores, the only ones left are
Pennies.
Pennies and Macy's.
Pennies and Macy's.
And Kaufman's.
Kaufman's is gone.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, they're owned by Macy's now.
Yeah.
And they just put a Macy's sign on it.
Oh, God, I'm out of it.
Yeah. But it was, I remember when I went to work, my mother says to me, I'll never forget it. Don't think you're having a different dress for every day.
What a different world.
She never made any dresses. It was just a pinafores when I was very young, when I was 7 or 8.
Okay. So this is like you're 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
You're not wearing these in high school.
Oh, no.
Okay, I thought that you were wearing these later in life.
Yeah, too.
All right.
No, I was working at West Farm Agency.
What were you doing at West Farm Agency?
I was a secretary. It was they sold houses.
It was a real estate company. A real estate
company.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't think of it. And I was going to Alderdice.
Okay.
And it was right down at the bottom of the hill from Alderdice. And so I stopped in one day to see if they needed anybody, and they hired me.
Look at you. That's very, very industrious of you. You just walked it off the street. Did you walk to do you remember? Did you walk to several places, or did you just think, I'd like to work in that office?
I think they had a sign in the window. Help needed.
Help needed by pinafore wearing girls.
So I went in, and I was the secretary, and they liked me. And it was owned by the West brothers, Jimmy West, and I can't remember the other guys' names. And I had applied at Westinghouse.
Already? Out of high school?
Before I got out of high school.
Oh, West's going on
I applied at Westinghouse. They could not hire me because I had to have a clearance. And a clearance took 3 months.
Oh.
And as soon as I was cleared, I got a call from Westinghouse. So I left West Farm Agency and I went to Westinghouse.
What would you do at West Farm Agency? Do you remember?
All I remember one day is that we had this table, And on the top of this table was a big piece of glass. I don't know what I was doing, but I went to pick it up, and it was going to fall. And this one guy grabbed it. I was so happy because I would have probably had to pay for it.
Why were you picking up the table? You don't know.
A piece of glass.
Why were you picking? Like maybe there was something underneath the glass that you
It
had to
was,
get or something. Okay.
it was, I don't know. But anyway, then I went to Westinghouse, and
How different your life may have been had you broken that glass, and then you would have had to stay at the West Brothers real estate agency
To pay it off.
to pay it off, and then you couldn't take the Westinghouse job, and then you would have became a real estate agent, and you were like the queen of the West Side, and then you would have
On
been
park benches.
yeah, and like your face on park benches, and in the back of the penny saver, and then you would have made $1 million by the time you were 30 and never met Dad, and I wouldn't be here right now. Good thing that guy didn't. That guy
Thank
saved
God.
the glass.
It's meant to be.
that's sad.
Well, that you could have been a millionaire by 30. Instead, you went to
You know,
work.
that I would have met Dad.
Oh,
Aww.
all right.
That was the best part of my life.
Oh, that's really nice.
That was the best part of my life.
If there was one bit of living with Dad that you would love to do over again,
Was it Dad's duffel bag?
was it when you were emptying Dad's cigarette ashtrays?
I felt like a waitress.
What was the best part that you would like to live again? And you would like to say all of it, or like what? But when it was like when you went one time when you and Dad were just having the best time.
I don't know. The day he said to me, I quit smoking. I'm giving it up. Was a happy day for me
I bet.
because I didn't have to clean up his ashes.
And smell it all day.
No, and smell it.
Did he smoke in the house?
Oh yeah.
In this house.
No way.
It's amazing that like you think
it'll never go away.
it's so insidious that it's gonna just permeate the carpet and the walls indefinitely. You would never know that people smoked in this house.
He smoked 3 packs a day.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
My dad didn't do anything on the small side.
All or nothing.
And every time he went to the doctor would say, were you a smoker? I said, yeah. Well, you still have it on your lungs.
That's how it goes.
But he still lived to into his 80s, so
This is why
it's like everybody can go, it'll be fine.
Yeah. But he did.
All right, so we started by talking about Elvis and the television. And you watched the television.
We should try to find some of these old programs so we can find them.
We'll try and watch like some old commercials from the 50s and see if any of them ring a bell.
What else did my dad like to watch?
Like Bonanza or
No, he liked to watch, what was that favorite priest? Father, he used to like to watch him.
there was a Catholic priest on television?
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh. Was it like on Sunday afternoon or something?
I don't know, David. For a long time, my dad did not go to church. We would go all the time, me and my mother and my brothers.
But your dad wouldn't go.
But
Would he go like at Christmas and Easter? Was he a CEO?
he wouldn't go, no, because there was a priest when he went to church that gave a sermon that said, if you don't contribute to the churches, you aren't as good as the rats that are running around in the street.
Ah!
That was the end of it. He said, I'll never go back to church again.
It's amazing how compelling, in a negative way, somebody's words can be. It can really scare you away. Yeah.
And then one day he came home and he said to my mother, I'm going back to church. I went to confession today.
Oh.
He went down to Holy Angels and told the priest, and the priest invited him in and talked to him and gave him absolution, and he came back to church.
Oh, nice. Holy Angels was in Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Was that downtown Hayes? where Holy Angels is? Or was downtown Hayes right
It
at the
was-
bottom?
It was on Mifflin Road.
Hey, yeah, Holy Angels is probably closed at this point, huh?
Oh, yes.
I remember going there
Oh,
for
yes.
something, maybe Uncle Bud's funeral. When Bud went to Hayes, how did he get there? Went to Holy Angels, how did he get there?
Walk.
He would walk all the way. So I remember going to church with Grandma and Uncle Bud, and I was like 10 years old, and I like forgot my clothes, yelled at me. I only had like one change of clothes, it was a mess. Anyway, but I don't think we walked. We walked all the way there. We had to, huh? Did we take the bus?
Well, you could have taken a streetcar.
No, I would have remembered that. We didn't take a
That's
streetcar.
cool.
Yeah, it would have been in the 1980s. The streetcars would have been gone.
Hey, I drove the streetcar when I went to Holbert High School. 3 streetcars.
You would have to change 2 times.
Oh,
Was that fun? You see different people and
I went from where I lived at the top of the hill, and I went
saw
down the
that
hill,
mm-hmm.
got the streetcar, drove to the Hayes Junction.
Which was down towards Holy Name.
Holy Name, no, Holy.
Angels. I'm sorry, Holy Angels. Yeah, it was down toward Holy Angels.
But it was in the back.
Okay. All
You
right.
had to drive down by there.
When you say drive, you mean ride.
Ride.
Take the
Yeah.
trolley.
Yeah.
To the Hayes Junction.
Uh huh.
From there, I had to get another trolley and drive to Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Get off at the high level bridge in Homestead,
Mm-hmm.
and take another trolley over to
Alderdice.
Alderdice.
oh.
That trailer over to Alderdice, was it just full of high school kids? But I mean, at that point, from Homestead to Alderdice.
Oh, well, anybody that wanted to drive the.
Well, of course, but
Yeah.
was it, do you remember it being full of high school kids? Because,
Yeah, people I knew, and
Was
You
it
know.
cold in the winter?
yes.
Like, they didn't have any heat, I would think, so you have to just
there would be
bundle
heat,
up.
there would have to be heat in that. Some kind of heat.
Oh, they had heat in the trolleys.
Oh, they did have heat, okay.
Yeah. And it was cold, but when we got off by the school, we had to walk up this real big hill.
Is Alderdice still there?
Yep.
Is it the same high school that you, it's gotta be a different
Yep.
building.
So oh God, after you take 3 streetcars, then you gotta walk up this big hill in the winter, oh God.
No, yeah, well, I mean,
Hey, it was no easy task.
Uphill both ways. Yeah.
well, I mean, it would have been harder if you were carrying water in a jug on your head up 4 miles from the river. Like, that would have been harder,
Well,
right?
we don't need to downplay that also kind of sucked.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but I think riding the subway would be fun, or whatever. The trolley
Well,
would
yeah,
be
we
fun.
take it for fun now, but
Yeah.
doing that every day, how long did that take? Twice a day you'd have to do this.
Twice a day.
How long did it take, you think?
About an hour.
So 2 hours out of your day you're doing this.
Yep.
But you would just like listen to your iPod and like watch YouTube videos and stuff, right? Your iPod. What's an iPod?
No, like literally you had to interact with others or be in your own thoughts.
Oh my God! In your own thoughts or talking to people? What a disaster!
Or like look outside, enjoy the scenery.
Oh my God! You did live in a bad world. How did you do it? Okay. Anyway, now we're just making fun. It's a good video. We'll put that on the.
That was
YouTube.
good. You knew